there, this is the very first episode from the new series Brain Foods. In this series, we are going to talk about foods that are commonly believed to be good for the brain. And we will ask, true or false? But before we start, let me introduce you to our guest who actually has the expertise to talk about this topic and answer our questions. Certified nutritionist and dear friend of mine, Adriano dos Santos.
Thank you, Leticia, for having me here in this video. I'm very excited talking about brain food. So I think it's going to be great to bust some myths here and discussing about the importance of all these food in our brain and cognitive functions in our health in general. So I'm really looking forward to discuss and curious about your questions, and let's just start.
When I first started the research on brain foods, I was completely overwhelmed by one clear number one contestant: fatty fish. It is by far the most mentioned one on the internet when it comes to foods that are recommended for the brain. So, Adriano, is fatty fish good for the brain?
Prior to our current worldwide pollution problem in waters, this was definitely true. But not anymore. Fish and seafood actually easily accumulate very high levels of chemicals and heavy metals also. And these chemicals in fish can be as much as 9 million times the amount found in water. So it is very alarming. And these chemicals have tremendously negative impact in our brain and our health in general. There are plenty of research proving the negative effect in our brain with these chemicals in our system. Fortunately, there are still some viable alternatives for obtaining the nutritious benefits of fish.
Can you tell us about what type of fish we should eat then?
The healthiest way would be, again, wild fish, like Alaskan salmon, herring, mackerel, trout, sardines, Arctic char, anchovy, and krill, for instance, which is a shell fish.
And the question we're all here for, why is fatty fish good for the brain?
The why is on the amount of omega-3 in fatty fish. Obviously, as we talked before, we're talking about wild fish instead of farmed ones. It's important to mention that the omega-3 are divided in three types: ALA, EPA, and DHA. The EPA appears to be the best at improving cognitive functions and memory, fighting depression, for instance. So omega-3 is definitely a major building block in our brain.
And what can you tell us about supplements with omega-3?
I strongly believe that nothing replaces a well-balanced diet, that's for sure. Having said that, I stress the emphasis in eating as much as clean, organic, wild omega-3 sources, as just mentioned before. But the question is, do we all need omega-3 supplementation? My answer is always no. But a lot of people need it, but not everyone. First of all, I would say perform a functional test to find out 3 marks in your body: oxidation, silent inflammation, and omega-3, 6, and 9 levels. After knowing that, then we can precisely estimate how many milligrams you need it, and if you need it or not. That would be my approach.
And the last question would be around what happens in our bodies when we don't have enough omega-3, and how does that relate to the brain?
Researchers found also that those people with the lowest level of omega-3 in the blood, their cells aged much faster than the people who had omega-3 levels higher, up to 8%, for instance. So it seemed to be a mark of aging. And I find it quite relevant if we think about the brain cell aging process, which could generate a lot of cognitive impairments and diseases in our brain.
So, is fatty fish good for the brain? True or false? We know from Adriano that fatty fish contains omega-3, which is an essential fatty acid for our brain. So, we will give fatty fish a true. But it is important that it's wild fish and preferably from an organic source, or small fish like sardines, anchovy, and krill. So there you have it. Now, we know that with this video we barely touch on this very important but extensive topic. So if you have any questions or if there is anything you want to know more about, write us in the comment section below and we will make sure to address this in future videos. Thank you, Adriano, for your time. Thank you for watching. Until next time.